drawing tonight because we're just kind of doing the classroom PowerPoint and practicing of the tying of the knots you're going to have to know on the fire ground. Once we get onto the fire ground, everything will make sense. Once you start doing it, it'll be less complicated. It'll be much easier to understand. In the beginning, no matter who we train, whether it be career or volunteer, there's always the guys are eyes wide open, and I'm actually going to go out this 2-story window or this 3-story window, and by the end of the day, we can't slow you down enough because you've built up the confidence that quickly. This is something you can do. We've never had a problem really with anybody doing this, and it's worked out very well. So as long as you follow our lead, everything will be fine. This is the boring stuff tonight. The good stuff will be when we get to the fire ground. But we need to get this out of the way in the beginning so that when we get to the fire ground, we do nothing but we go out the window all day long. We have PowerPoints here. We have prints here, handouts. If you don't have one, please come up and grab one. Feel free to move up if you want. I know nobody wants to do that, but there's a lot of handouts in here, so you could follow along with the handouts also. So we will get started. Yeah, they're actually on the chairs.
Come sit next to me.
So everybody has the handouts. We're good.
Yes, sir. They don't got no pens anymore.
Okay. And again, feel free. Anything you don't quite understand, feel free to ask. More than likely, we'll go over the PowerPoint. But if not, like some of our FDNY instructors say, there are no questions, no dumb questions. Actually, there are. We'll mock you a little bit, but we'll still answer them. So feel free. Don't do that. So the objectives, we're going to explain the components of the system, how to use it, care and maintenance, packaging, and connection to your harness. Okay. And if you guys haven't seen the system, this is a beat-up version of the new pretty ones you guys will have. All right. Very, very, very simple device, but we're going to go over everything. All right. Multiple pieces of the system. First and foremost, the piece that you're going to connect to, and I'll try to not stand.
That's all right.
The piece you're going to connect yourself to, the hook. It's a 5,000-pound at the tip. Okay, 10,000 pound at the saddle. This whole system. Let me backtrack a little bit. The whole system can handle 5,000 pounds. All right. There's no component in this system that is a weak link that's under 5,000 pounds. This system is intentionally built that. So there's a lot of extra safety built in it. So no matter how big you are, no matter how much gear you're handling, you've got to get a second guy down. The system can handle it. All right. So the hook, drop forward steel. It's a pro bar. It's a Halligan bar. Can't kill it. Can't destroy it. All right. 7x3. You don't need to know all that. It weighs a little less than a pound. Safety factor of 15-1. And again, at the tip here. It can handle 5,000 pounds. In the saddle, it doubles, 10,000 pounds. You are not going to harm that hook. If you bend that hook, there's something seriously wrong with you. Webbing. We have the webbing here. It's 100% Kevlar, 3-inch tubular webbing. Tubular webbing. So you look at this, you think it's a ribbon, but it's not. It's actually a flattened tube. One of the concerns that people always say when they see this is, Christ, if this twists, is it going to get jammed? Is it going to get stuck in there? It's not. The descending device is very simple, but because it's tubular webbing, if it doesn't go in at the crease, it doesn't matter. It just kind of creates its own crease and keeps on going, all right? It just flattens the tube in a different degree. 862-degree rating. This can handle a lot of heat, okay? One of the things we tell you when you're out on the fire ground is, once we teach you how to get yourself out of the window, all right, the descenders are locking descendo. So now you're out, and you're hanging below the windowsill. So even if you're panicked and don't want to touch anything, and you're just there, are things a whole lot better for you? Now you're in fresh air, you can breathe. All the bad stuff is going out the window above your head. Okay? So 862-degree rating, it's going to last a while. And a 5,500-pound tensile strength, again, in keeping with the over 5,000-pound forces. Okay? Passed the drop test, highly resistant to cuts and high temperature, obviously. Okay? It's Kevlar. Can you cut it? Yeah, eventually over time, but it's a very, very, very strong weave. Okay? All the construction is sewn. In other words, the components aren't knotted. When you knot things, you lose strength. So everything's sewn. These are sealed systems. So on the one end, you have the hook, and you can see it here. And on the other end, By the way, these are 50 feet long. On the other end, you have a ring, and that's sewn also. And the whole idea is if the bag's 50 feet and you got to go 60, you don't do the Wile E. Coyote where it's, you know, you're just holding a descender with no webbing left. It'll stop you. You'll be hanging there, but someone will be able to reach and get to you. Okay? Big thing you can't do with sewn systems, all the strength is in the rope or the webbing itself. If you put a hook, as they show here, where it's sewn, okay? Got that. What are you going to do if you do that? You're going to rip the threads right out. There's no strength in that whatsoever. That would probably take about 20 pounds of force to tear out. So don't do that. Long and short of it. Is this where it's going to lock up on me now? Come on. Okay. Oh, that's the one that got, it always gets stuck on this slide. Very strong potential to save your life. If you don't know what you're doing and you use the system, it's just going to kill you that much faster. All right? So, and that's why we say, if you get on the fire ground, the structures are very intense, they're very serious, but it's for your own safety. Okay? The bag itself, it's 9.5 ounce flame-resistant materials. Okay, it's designed to be integrated in your pants pocket. We're going to put this in the right leg bunker pants pocket. All right, that's how it slides in. I don't have gear here tonight, but we can show you later. Real simple device. The Velcro of the pants pocket matches up with the Velcro on that, so it slides in, locks onto the hook and loop Velcro fasteners. Your pocket flap goes over it. It's covered. It's protected. So you almost have dual layers protected. If you have a hazmat or something, we still show you to inspect that system. But you know, between the bag itself and then the outer shell of your pants pocket, they usually stay in pretty good shape. All right. Inspection prior to every tour, after every structural fire, and especially after operating in a hazmat incident. Okay. We say once every 6 months or once a year, pull the whole system out of the bag, go through it, inspect every inch. Make sure that there's no frays, no tearing. Make sure the descender's connected and working properly. There's no burrs on the descender that can cause a problem. And repack the bag completely. Now the big thing with this is there are training bags that we have, and you guys have training bags also, that are going to be not issued. They're going to be reserved strictly for training. When we're done training you at the academy, where you actually do the slides, you need to do all the slides, you're proficient at it, that's when you'll be handed your system. The last jump of the day is going to be on your system. All right, it's the proving jump or the proving slide that the system the chief has issued you works and is set up properly. We'll inspect to make sure that you repack it correctly, and that's one of the things we can go over tonight is repacking it. So we'll split the groups up between half knots and half repacking, and probably go back and forth if you want to do that, Al. But once you do that final slide on your issued system, it goes in your pocket, never gets used again. Okay? Your system is your system, and it's meant to save your life someday if it needs to. You are not going to use it for training. You're not going to use it to haul up a fan or a tool or a saw on the roof. It stays in your pocket, and it waits for a real bad day. Okay? We recommend, and I don't know what the chiefs have decided, every 6 months to a year, you recertify, all right? You're going to use your training bags to do that. So your bag's going to go out with your name on it. Training bag's going to go in. You're going to redo some slides to ensure your proficiency in the system. Okay? Biggest thing is, if this tri-link isn't connected to your harness, just have a rope in your hand. And again, you're going to fall like that dummy did in that video, okay? So the biggest thing you want to do, and that's something you could do while you're in the truck, riding to the job, just glance down, make sure it's connected, okay? I know people screw with gear, we don't want to think about that. If the link becomes loose, it's 5 seconds while you're in there, you're getting suited up. You want to make sure that that connection is on that slide of your harness. And again, at the fire ground, or at the training academy, I should say, we're going to go over that, and you'll be inspected every time you do a slide. We're absolutely crazy about safety. All right. This is what I was talking about before, all right? Inspect the webbing for on the sewn edges. Make sure the threads are connected and tight. Make sure the threading isn't coming out. The hook in the device, again, nicks, sharp edges. You're not going to hurt the hook. It's probably just the descending device itself you have to inspect. It's really hard to hurt the hook and the bag integrity itself. Not as important, the bag integrity. We're going to show you if the bag ever got jammed up in your pocket. We're going to show you once we get on the academy grounds. You can take the whole pocket our whole pocket right out of the pocket of your pants. Drop it down to the ground. It doesn't need to be in the pocket anymore. All right. Obviously, the integrity of the ring at the end. Make sure those sewn edges are okay, and you'll be all set. Packing the bag. Al, do you want to show them now, real quick?
Sure. Just go through the slides. We'll do it.
Okay. All right. We'll go over that later when we split up into groups. All right. System shall be placed out of service after every use. That's NFPA. So if you have a real bad day where you really, really, really have to use this, that's it. It's the last time it's ever going to get used. You give it back to us. We give you a new one. We put it on the plaque and say, hey, we sold something to save this guy's life. All right. Obviously, fraying of threads on the sewn end of the webbing itself. Any deformities or nicks in the device. Again, exposed to any hazardous materials. If it screwed up your gear, there's a chance it could screw up this system. All right, so it's just common sense stuff. You had a bad hazmat and your new gear is a funny color green now. Chances are you don't want to use that system. You want to have it checked by us. If you have any doubt in the system itself and you inspect it, take it out of service. I mean, at that point, they could take the training bag and lend it to you until they give you the bag back and I can send it out and have it recertified. Okay, again, this is a life-saving device. You don't want to take chance. That nick doesn't look that bad. I'm going to let it go. Don't do that. Don't take that chance. Okay, deploying the system. A couple of different ways you can deploy. The safest way in the first slides we're going to do in the morning when we get out to the training center is going to be remotely tied off. It's going to, again, build further confidence in the system. A lot of people are going to sit there and go, just that little hook on that little windowsill is going to hold me up. Well, we're going to anchor to a real strong anchor point, and we're going to tie a knot using the hook, which is what we're showing you tonight. In the first couple of slides you do, we're going to be using that remote tie-off system. As you develop confidence in that, we're going to start going out with the hook, just the hook, and the hook alone. Okay? A little video. This is the knot you're going to learn tonight. And again, this is rope, but it's no big deal. Webbing's the exact same way. It's 2 half hitches, which equal a clove hitch. Okay? Very, 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 very simple knot to do. Again, hard to look at if you're not actually doing it yourself on a screen. We're just showing it to you now. We're going to break up into groups. We're going to do that. That's why we have the ladder. We're going to set up, and I'm going to show you, Al and I are going to show you how to do that. Okay? But it's not letting go. Okay? But the beauty of it is, if you feel you've tied onto this strong pole or heat riser, and then you find out it's a halogen lamp because it's coming with you, and then you tied off, no big deal. Just slide the knot right off. It comes clean, and you find a new anchor point and start again. Okay? Here's examples of the tie-off. It was meant for 2-inch heat risers. That hook was built specifically for that. This is not an off-the-shelf hook. This is a hook developed by FDNY's R&D division. And they went to the Crosby Company, which makes hooks for cranes to fishing poles, you name it, they have a hook for it. And they said, make this hook for it, and that's where the hook came from. Okay, so you can see the multiple things. Now here's him hooking around a couple of heat risers. He did the bend. Okay, every bend is 40% less.
Tension on the webbing.
Tension on the webbing itself. Okay, so if you could do every 90, basically is 40% less. So you do a couple of 90s, it's that much less stress.